Well, welcome everyone to today's Lunch and Learn with your Wyoming PTAC. Today is April 27th, 2022, almost the end of this month, which is, I don't know. I don't know how other Wyomingites feel, but I feel like April is always just a little bit challenging. We always want spring to be here, but spring is taking its sweet time, and I feel this way every year. So welcome to the almost end of April. And welcome to our Lunch and Learn today. My name is Janine Forsyth Lefevre. I am the program manager of the Wyoming PTAC program, the Procurement Technical Assistance Center. And as a reminder, we do provide free, confidential government contracting assistance for businesses in the state of Wyoming who wish to sell their goods or services to the government, and that includes federal, state, or local. So if you haven't taken advantage of our one-on-one counseling opportunities yet, this is your open invitation to do that. And I'm very excited today to introduce our very own Katie B. Christensen, procurement specialist. She is one of our two counselors, that would be myself and her, who serve the entire state of Wyoming with government contracting counseling. And thank goodness for her. I told her I am as much of an attendee as anyone else on today's presentation because I know just enough about Excel to make me dangerous, but pivot tables are going to be a new thing for me. So, and Katie, it almost looks like maybe your video is frozen for me right now. I wonder if maybe turning that off might help. Oh, we lost her. We'll see if she gets back. And in the meantime, while we wait for Katie, I know she was having some internet stuff today. Part of the reason that we wanted to present this Lunch and Learn about doing market research, about using Excel and pivot tables, market research is one of those pieces that is really, really important for government contracting, but few people really know how to approach it, how to think about it, but it's really important as you start your journey to being a federal contractor, to selling your goods or services to the federal government, that you are thinking about who your potential customers might be. What does not work very well is just a scattershot approach. We're going to work with anyone, everyone, doesn't matter. Oh, you're back, Katie. I was just saying that, you know, a scattershot approach to government contracting typically is not going to be your most effective. Trying to work with everybody and be all things to all people is rarely a successful strategy. What you want to do instead, if it's at all possible, is really target your energy, target your resources and your marketing to folks who actually have a history of buying what you provide and what you sell. So what Katie is going to walk us through today is going to be one strategy for doing a little bit of market research, trying to figure out who your potential customers might be, and using that to your advantage and leveraging that to find a little bit of success as you jump into contracting. So Katie, if you are back and able to, I think we're good for you to go ahead and start sharing your screen. And
yeah. Thank you. Can you, as host, allow me to share my screen, please?
Oh, yes, ma'am. It must have kicked it over to me when you.
Yeah, I think so. I'm going to leave my video off in hopes that it won't kick me out again. Apologies for losing you all for a minute.
Okay, you should have superpowers now.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. So here's a little bit about what we're going to do today. We will probably not go the full hour. It sounded like Janine kind of gave you a nice overview of market research. I might cover a little bit more about that. Why pivot tables, and then we're going to do the bulk of our presentation will be a hands-on devo using NAICS, PSCs, and primes. And if that's speaking a different language, it's okay. And if it sounds very familiar to you, great. And then there'll be time for a Q&A at the end. But if at any point in time you have questions, feel free to unmute yourself to type into chat whatever you feel comfortable with. We at PTAC have kind of a motto of all teach, all learn. So if you have experience with this or a challenge or a success, feel free to chime in because that's a really helpful way for all of us to teach each other and learn from each other. So the demo will probably take about 20 minutes. I was having some download issues earlier today, so I've pre-downloaded some things. So you might have varying success or time frames when you go to do this on your own. But I've hopefully got a backup plan in place since we're online today. Okay, so why market research? Janine mentioned that we don't want to do the scatter shot. Let's just apply to everything. So you're really going to, market research is helpful to narrow down on your target audience. So the agencies that are buying the goods and services that you provide. It's a comprehensive look at who you should or can do business with in government markets. And as you know, the US government is one of the largest global buyers, so they buy just about anything under the sun. But you want to be targeted with your time and energy as a most likely a small business and who you're kind of reaching out to and marketing to. Market research is also really helpful to look at your competitors. So you can narrow down and see who previous contracts have gone to. And then you can do a little Google stalking or other places of looking up how do they sell themselves? What types of things could you differentiate your company with that sets yourself aside from what the competitors are doing? The other thing that market research is helpful for is language translation. If you're at all familiar with government contracting, sometimes it is like speaking a foreign language. And so what one contracting officer describes a goods or service might be slightly different than the next. And so it helps you kind of put together better descriptors for your capability statement or how you describe what your business does. So we're going to use both NAICS, North America Industry Classification System codes, and PSC codes because sometimes those are going to show slightly different results, and both are data sets that are useful for reaching out to prime contractors, to contracting officers, to various agencies to help market your business. So why pivot tables? Pivot tables are great for organizing data into a more manageable system. And if you've ever downloaded one of those spreadsheets, sometimes it's like, I don't even know where to start. What are they even saying there? So pivot tables help us interpret and collect our information in a really a manageable fashion. And it's information that we can use to strategize what we do, our next steps in business. It's also a way to do long-term capture planning. So one of the things you may know that some of the contracts are not just one-time shots, that sometimes contracts can be for 3 or 5 year stints. And so you can sometimes upend competitors or constituents and get them out of there. And so you can say, okay, in year 1, I'm going to do this and start to reach out to the contracting officer and send them my capability statement. Year 2, you can kind of build a long-term strategy for working up to maybe unseating an incumbent that has that contract currently. So there's kind of long-term plan. And I think anything in government contracting really is about long-term strategy. It takes a while to get your first one, and it can take a while to kind of maintain some of those things. The other thing is you can do fancy things in Excel, and so that's what we're going to do today. It can be overwhelming, but hopefully this will help kind of do some step-by-step process work to get us to be able to use pivot tables more effectively. So you can turn this, which, oh my gosh, who wants to look at an Excel document like that and understand what it even says, into something like this, which is data that you can use, right? So you can see this is an agency, and then by tier, these are the sub-agencies. These are the contract amounts that they spent within this category, and I'll show you what that means in just a minute. But it's being able to use this information in a strategic sort of way. So I'm going to do a demo on usaspending.gov. usaspending.gov pulls information from sam.gov, but it's got, I think, a more user-friendly search tool. So let's go ahead. I'm going to stop sharing the screen and pop over. If you want to do this right alongside me, you can definitely do that. And again, as Janine put into the chat, if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat or just unmute yourself too. Okay, so I'm going to pull up USA spending. Can everybody see that screen? I heard nothing, so I'm going to assume
Yes.
you can.
Yes.
Awesome, thanks. So I'm going to go to advanced search here. And this is what this is a really user-friendly interface, I think. Some of them get a little bit more complicated. What we're going to do, we're going to search for 3 previous fiscal years. I like to do complete years. It's really up to you. You could search 1 year if you're looking for something really narrowed or targeted and specific, but I'm going to do just kind of a general search. And since we're in FY22, I'm going to not do that one. This is all the information that you can narrow down in search fields. But what I'm going to do is do location. I want to make sure to select place of performance. We're going to do United States, and then we're going to target or narrow down to Wyoming. I'm going to scroll. You could also type in Wyoming or W. Make sure you click Add Filter. You can also go down to community if you wanted to do that. So it depends on how narrow or broad you're trying to make your search. I'm just going to keep it to the state level. The next thing I'm going to do, we're going to search by NAICS code first. So that's that North America Industry Classification System. I already have this pulled up, and I'm going to do a janitorial search. So this is kind of broad janitorial. So I'm just going to copy, and then you can either type or paste into this field, and it's going to pull up so the top tier and then are narrowed all the way down. So I'm going to make sure I click on janitorial services, and maybe you saw filter updated. So we're going to start with the NAICS code, and then we're going to submit search. So if you're not familiar with USA spending, these are all the recipient names who have won contracts in these fiscal years. So you can see there's 132 contracts. You can look at award amount. So this alone is really helpful information, right? So the description was anything from base custodial services to custodial, janitorial. You can see they're using different words. So already, it's helpful information, right? You can start to see awarding agency, the contract type, the sub-agency. What we're going to do is download this information, and I want to make sure that the prime award is selected here. And I'm going to click download. When you get to this screen, you're going to do transactions. So we're going to do everything here. And then we want everything here, and it's going to download it for you. This was taking a little bit longer earlier today, so I already pre-downloaded this one. So I'm going to close out of here, and I'm going to pull up the Excel spreadsheet that it's in. So when it downloads, this is what it looks like. And you can see, like, oh my gosh, lots of information here. Parent award agency, lots of stuff. And if I wanted to make these rows bigger, I can see exactly what it was. But oh my gosh, how overwhelming is it to see all of that? Pretty overwhelming. So what we're gonna do, and I skipped ahead a little bit. So when this downloads, it's gonna be a CSV file. You're gonna save this as an Excel workbook. So file, save as, and I don't know if you can see that when I screen share, but make sure you're saving it as an Excel workbook or that extension where it says .xlsx, so that you have more flexibility there. If you didn't see that, you didn't miss anything, it's okay. So here, we're gonna rename this tab, and I already did this, I skipped ahead a little bit. So we're gonna call this NAICS data because it's the raw data that we have. And then the next step is going to be to insert the pivot table itself. And so we're going to come up here to insert and click on pivot table. You want to make sure that it has the full, and make sure that it says a new worksheet when you're inserting, and click OK. So you'll see that down here, it created a new sheet, and I'm going to go ahead and rename this, so you can double click or right click depending on what type of computer you have. And we're going to call this the NAICS pivot. All right. So over here, you see the field name. Those were all the things, the headers or the rows on the previous, like the original sheet that we had. I see there's a chat there. Yeah, Brandy, no worries. We will record it and you will be able to get a copy for sure. Thanks for joining us today. All right. So when you get to this place, you're going to click on, if sometimes depending on your device, these field names are alphabetized already. I'm working on a Mac, so they automatically alphabetize, but it is helpful to alphabetize them. Sometimes there's a little gear here that you can alphabetize things. But the first one that you're going to type in is awarding agency name. So you're going to click on this and drag it down to rows, and you can see, ta-da, all those awarding agencies populate here. The next one we're going to do is awarding sub-agency name. You're just going to click, hold, and drag, and you're going to put that underneath the agency name. So you can see that there's agency and then sub-agency that populate. So already we're starting to organize our data more effectively. The next one you're going to do is federal action obligation. And so I'm going to hold, drag this one into the values. So ta-da, values. All of a sudden now we have agency, sub-agency, and the contract amounts that's been spent in those 3 fiscal years that we selected from our original search. Now, what you want to do is sort these a little bit. So we're going to click on this first bold. You can see that the top tier is bold and the sub-agencies are not. You're going to click on the first one and go to sort largest to smallest. And all of a sudden, it rearranges everything. And you can see that in Wyoming, the agency who has spent the most is the Department of Defense. Next is going to be Department of Health and Human Services, or HHS. So all of a sudden you're like, oh, these are agencies that I might want to target for what I'm doing in janitorial or custodial work. So next we're going to sort the sub-agencies. So I want to highlight everything in that first sub-agency that's not bold. I want to make sure I grab it all, and same thing. I'm going to sort and filter. So you can right click, or you can come up in the home area, sort and filter largest to smallest, and the same thing. So now we can see within the DoD in Wyoming, the Department of the Army has spent this amount. And now I like to also highlight that B column, since it is a dollar amount, and make it into money so that I know what that means. So you can see 47 million. Great, awesome. You saw that my pivot table went away. I can click in any one of these fields and it comes back there. Pretty cool stuff. Is everybody with me so far? Any questions?
Yeah, we're happy to take questions. I am following you, Kate.
Awesome.
That
Great.
means anything.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Janine does not like Excel, so sometimes she's my marker, my bar. Okay.
We're frenemies. We're frenemies.
So the next thing I'm going to do is go back to usaspending.gov. Make sure I do the right one here. Oops, that's my PowerPoint, just kidding. And I'm going to search by the PSC codes. So they are slightly different and contracting officers use them differently. So to do that, I'm going to keep all the information the same. So I'm going to keep the fiscal years the same. I'm going to keep the location the same. I'm going to keep the state. Yeah, that's the location. And then I'm going to do not NAICS code. I'm going to come down and do PSC code. So I already looked up, oops, here we go. Janitorial housekeeping S201. I already looked that one up, so I'm going to come over here and type that into the product service area S201. And again, I want to make sure that this box is checked. You can see the language is slightly different. Sometimes it's interesting because with this product service code, janitorial falls under pretty likely thing, housekeeping. But you've got some industries, landscaping is a really good one that will sometimes fall under a housekeeping PSC code. So worth doing both NAICS and PSC. We're going to submit that information. Sometimes it takes a hot minute to be able to do the search. So it's thinking. This is where the Jeopardy song would come in handy, right? Like do 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 do.
There's just so much data to gather.
It is a lot of information.
That's what makes this, I think, really overwhelming, Katie. And I like that you use that word. When you first jump in and try to do this, it can just feel like a lot. And it can be hard to know how to make sense of it, right, in your brain. So I think that's where this type of skill really comes in handy.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Oh, and of course, an error occurred. So fun pro tip, this is like a Martha Stewart or a Julia Child cooking show. I already downloaded that information. So I'm gonna pull that up. Here we go. So here's the same information with your PSC code. So we're gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna rename this though, PSC data. And actually what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy. So if you've never copied a whole sheet, it's this little triangle thing and it copies all the rows and all the columns. And then I just do Command C. And then I'm going to copy it and go back to, I got to stop share to do that. Sorry. I'm going to go back to the other spreadsheet that I had. Here we go. Can you see the pivot example? I want to make sure I'm sharing the right one.
Yes.
Okay, perfect, perfect. And I'm going to go back to adding a new sheet and I'm going to do a Command P or a paste all that information in. And now I'm going to actually rename this PSC data. Okay, so same thing here. This is the raw data that you have. We're going to insert a pivot table. Make sure it goes to a new workbook. We're going to go to awarding agency name. Click, hold, and drag into the rows. And we're going to do awarding sub-agency name. And then we're going to do federal action obligation. So any amount. All right. So you can see here, and if I wanted to, I could go ahead and I'll sort those again, largest to smallest. You can see when you search by PSC codes, a different agency is now at the top, Department of Interior. And so those are going to be things like Bureau of Rec, Bureau of Indian Affairs. Here we go. So BLM in Wyoming is the largest spend using the PSC code. So that's going to be useful information for you when you're searching for upcoming contracts, because you can see, all right, so if I want to work with BLM over, oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to rename this one really quick so I don't get lost. PSC pivot. So if I compare those things, Department of Interior is the top, with the Bureau of Land Management as the top sub. When I go back to the NAICS, oh, interesting. DOD is the top with the Department of Army. So this helps to kind of hone in on your strategy of agencies to target. And oftentimes you're going to look at the top in each of these categories because those are going to be the more lucrative. However, sometimes you might start to do a little bit of research and say, maybe the mission of some of these agencies doesn't line with the mission or values of your company. So you might say, I don't really want to work with the Department of Defense. I'm going to work with, say, there's the Department of Interior using NAICS codes, because I really like the outdoor values of, say, the National Park Service, for instance. So you can start to just refine the information and the data that you're collecting or finding out. And then from there, you can start to go to each of these agencies' websites, just doing some simple Google searching and saying, who's the prime contractor for that? Or go to sam.gov and start to pull in some of the same information and start to follow or do a created search in sam.gov that's helping to follow these agencies and upcoming contract information. The other thing that we can do is actually search prime contracts. So I randomly picked a NAICS code in janitorial.
And she's out again. This is Wyoming technology. I feel like we'll let her know. I'm sure she'll hop back out. Anybody on the call? I know there's just a few of us. Have any questions or thoughts? Anyone have an idea in their mind of an agency they hope to work with or have worked with? Here she comes back.
Oh, geez. Sorry, I'm back.
Perfect.
Oh, sorry, friends. What I was going to say is you can also search for subcontract opportunities or prime contract opportunities so that you can start to target as a subcontractor who are the primes that have won contracts and how might I start to subcontract with them? So yet another way that you can start to kind of interpret the data from USA spending to help kind of target your strategy, basically. So those were kind of the big things that I wanted to show you. Questions from folks? I put a few feeder questions in there. Is USA Spending the only website to use this with? No, absolutely not. So fpds.gov is another one that's really helpful, and you can kind of download data and interpret things that way. I find that USA Spending is just a really easy user interface on the front end. So that's why I chose this one. What if I'm feeling lost? A-okay. Totally understandable if you're feeling lost in any of this. Call your PTAC. That is what we are here for, to help kind of interpret and support you along the way. Whether it's teaching a new skill or walking beside you saying, we're here for it, whatever it is, We also have a database that we subscribe to. Janine is a big fan called FedMine, and it does a lot of this for you. So we don't give you access, but we can pull search data and information for you. Janine, do you want to talk about FedMine a little bit and how you choose to use it?
When do I not want to? I really love it. I use it all the time, and it is something that we are really privileged to have access to at the PTAC, and we provide that information to our clients for free. Yeah, FedMine is a lovely database that pulls from USA Spending, from FPDS, and from lots of other places to give us a nice, as close to a 360 view as possible of how different agencies spend their money. We can also look at prime contractors. So say you were interested in working with a prime contractor, like, I don't know, Lockheed Martin or Boeing or Northrop Grumman, or any of those big players. We can search FedMine to see what sorts of awards they have received as well. It's always a good approach to say, to email a small business officer at a big prime and say, hey, I see you just got this big award. Let me tell you why my small business is a great fit to support you in that project. Whitney asks, have you worked with Gov Bid Match site at all? I have not. Have you, Katie?
I have not. I'm not familiar with that one, but Whitney, if you want to share, you can unmute yourself and tell us your success or failures or ask specific questions with it. I always love to learn new resources. So yeah, feel free to unmute and share.
I haven't worked with it that much yet, which is why I was hoping to maybe get some tips, because it is very overwhelming as well. I get like a daily email with all opportunities that came that day. And so trying to work on filtering through to the ones we actually are trying to pursue.
Sure. Yeah. And do you all set up the keywords for that bid match, or are you working with someone else to do that for you?
Someone else did set up some vague ones. So I just need to figure out how to really customize that.
Yeah. And I would say any information that you can search to help narrow your keywords, like this type of market research can help you narrow down to keywords, because different contracting officers or agencies classify some of those things slightly differently. And so you could see the difference between PSC janitorial and NAICS janitorial, and that's going to help you kind of narrow some of those things down so that your bid match starts to get narrow and more focused in on what you're really doing, making your time a little bit more efficient, right? Because you do some of those, we have a big bid match service as well, that it can get really overwhelming when you're sorting through like 30 pages of matches.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just want to give up, right? Yeah. Where are you located, Whitney?
We're in Laramie, Wyoming.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, if you give Janine or myself a call, we're happy to help you kind of narrow in on some of this information and hone in on some things, and maybe even set up the bid match from our services as well. We're happy to chat about that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for asking the question. Any other questions? All right. Well, if you think of any, feel free to reach out to myself or Janine. We're always happy to walk through things. And you've got a little extra time in your day, since we didn't take the whole time.
Yes, and you can see that Katie put up our upcoming events. May 25th, we'll do another Lunch and Learn just like this one about teaming, joint ventures, and the Mentor Protege program. That's a really fun one. It's kind of unusual that folks really understand the differences and the similarities between those three things. June 16th, we have the next strategic Teaming Alliance Roundtable. I think I got that right. Yes. And this one's hosted by another PTAC. And actually, I think it is North Dakota that's hosting now. They did change that, but it's going to be a really awesome meeting with Northrop Grumman, Bechtel Construction, a whole bunch of other first tier subs and primes on the ground-based strategic deterrent project. If that all makes sense to you, I hope that you join us for that. And surprise, if you all want to meet us in person, Katie and I are going to be, it's not on the slide, but we will be in Casper next week for the Casper Aerospace Conference. And I can put the link for that. It's the Aerospace and Defense Industry Conference. It's put together by Advanced Casper. And it is a real live in-person event, believe it or not. After quite a bit of time doing things only virtually, the link is in the chat. Katie and I are going to be there. We'll be presenting a little bit about the PTAC and have a table there where we can meet with folks and everything. And if you follow that link, you'll see the agenda. It's really robust. There's going to be a whole bunch of folks there, including NASA, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, and some other agencies. So if we happen to see you in Casper, that would be fantastic. If not, you're always welcome to reach out to us for a one-on-one counseling appointment. And again, everything we do for Wyoming businesses is free. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us first. If it's something we do not provide, we will send you to the right place. So never be worried about giving us a call.
Janine, thank you so much. Apologies for my Zoom. It's killing me today, but we're a good team and she stepped right in. So I appreciate that. And so I've just listed all of our contact information up on the screen: email, call, pigeon, send a pigeon. I would take a pigeon, carrier pigeons. And of course, Small Business Administration Partners. Deb wasn't able to make it today, but Deb Ferris is our great partner, and she will also be in Casper with us next week. Great resource in the state as well. So with that, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for your patience with my Zoom today. And hopefully you learned a little few tidbits about pivot tables and market research. So with that, we'll bid you all adieu and hope you have a beautiful day wherever you're calling in from. And of course, if you need any government contracting support, don't hesitate to give us a call.
All right, take care. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.